Picture yourself walking through Ulaanbaatar just before dawn. The chill of late September hangs in the air, and the Soviet-era apartment blocks stand like silent witnesses. You might even sense that the city is holding its breath. On the morning of September 21st, 1998, Mongolia woke to the shocking news that Zorig Sanjaasuren, the young face of its democratic revolution, had been stabbed to death in his own home. In that instant, the nation's fragile optimism cracked, and a lingering mystery was born. You're probably asking, how did a mild-mannered reformer become the center of Mongolia's most enduring whodunit? To answer, we need to rewind to the early 1990s. After the Soviet Union collapsed, Mongolia emerged blinking into the light of multi-party politics. Crowds jammed Sukh-Baatar Square, chanting for freedom, and at the center of those rallies stood a bespectacled economic student named Zorig. His calm voice, wrapped in a plaid scarf, carried over the loudspeakers and into history. He wasn't a firebrand. He was more like the steady friend who talks you down from a ledge. That very steadiness vaulted him into Parliament at 28, and later into the cabinet as Minister of Infrastructure. By 98, he was a frontrunner for Prime Minister, poised to steer Mongolia between Russian influence to the north and Chinese pressure to the south. Now, imagine the night of the murder. It's Saturday. Zorig has spent the day negotiating coalition politics, the thankless job of counting votes and soothing egos. Around 9 p.m., he drives his girlfriend Bulgan Batku back to his modest apartment in the 7th micro-district. The block's stairwell light is broken, so they climb 3 flights in near darkness, fumbling for the key. Neighbors later recall hearing nothing unusual, no shout, no struggle, just the everyday thud of a door closing. Inside, the couple prepares a simple dinner. They sit at a small wooden table, bowls of tsuvan noodles steaming between them. Their conversation drifts from cabinet appointments to vacation plans. Bulgan keeps souvenirs on the shelf, dreaming of travel. Then, sometime after 11, a knock, not the hesitant tap of a neighbor borrowing sugar. This is firm, deliberate. Zorig opens the door. 3 intruders push in, faces masked with nylon stockings. A struggle erupts. Bulgan is tied to a chair with phone cables, her eyes blank with shock. She hears scuffling, muffled grunts, the metallic clang of a kitchen knife knocked to the floor. When the apartment finally falls silent, Zorig lies in a pool of blood, stabbed 18 times, his throat slashed. The assailants vanish into the stairwell, leaving no fingerprints, no shoe prints, not even the murder weapon. By sunrise, the crime scene is swarming with police, politicians, and a growing crowd of stunned citizens. The national mood flips from euphoria to paranoia. Reporters brand the killing an assassination, yet investigators call it a botched burglary because Zorig's watch is missing. You can hear the nation arguing in cafes. Was it political, or was it random? Meanwhile, theories multiply like desert weeds. Some whisper about Soviet hardliners angry at Mongolia's democratic drift. Others point to domestic power brokers threatened by Zorig's anti-corruption crusade. A few even suggest a personal vendetta, the unglamorous possibility that someone close held a private grudge. Fast forward to 2016. For 18 years, the case has gone cold. Files stacked in dusty offices, key evidence sealed as state secrets. Then, without warning, a special operations team arrests 3 siblings, Tuvshinbayar, Chimgi, and Sodnomdajar. State television airs dramatic footage of masked officers escorting them into court. The message is clear. The mystery is solved. prosecutors present a narrative that feels oddly tidy. They say the siblings intended to rob Zorig, panicked, and killed him. A battered wristwatch found in their home allegedly ties them to the scene. Yet as the trial unfolds, cracks appear. Proceedings are closed to the public. Defense lawyers say they are barred from reviewing crucial video evidence. Even the verdict is delivered behind closed doors. When transcripts finally leak, they reveal confessions extracted after marathon interrogations with no legal counsel. The siblings claim they were beaten, deprived of sleep, forced to sign statements they could not read. Despite the outcry, each receives a sentence of 20 to 24 years. To many Mongolians, the convictions feel less like justice and more like theatre staged to silence uncomfortable questions. You might be wondering, what about alternative suspects? Let's examine the political angle first. In 98, Mongolia's ruling coalition was splintering. Zorig's popularity made him a compromise candidate for prime minister, and that put him on a collision course with hardliners in both major parties. One rumor centers on a faction within the Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party, the old Communist Guard. They allegedly feared that Zorig would expose embezzlement in the state copper company, Erdenet. Another theory targets nationalist politicians who disliked Zorig's push for closer ties with the West. Then there is the foreign interference hypothesis. Russia, anxious about losing influence, or China, wary of a pro-Western neighbor, might have pulled strings. No smoking gun has ever surfaced, but cables released by WikiLeaks show American diplomats privately speculating about foreign fingerprints. Turn now to the crime scene details that still baffle experts. Police found no signs of forced entry, suggesting Zorig knew at least one attacker. The killers also spent nearly an hour inside, a risky duration if robbery was the motive. They stabbed him repeatedly, but left cash in his wallet and a laptop on the desk. Forensic analysts note the precision of the throat wound, hinting at military or medical training. Stranger still, phone records reveal that a senior intelligence officer placed several calls near the apartment block that night, yet was never questioned. Public frustration hits a peak in 2019, when Parliament orders a review of the sealed evidence. Lawmakers emerge pale-faced, saying the files contain sensitive national security material that could destabilize the region if released. That explanation only fuels conspiracy theories. Civic groups stage candlelight vigils chanting "Who killed Zorig?" The slogan becomes graffiti on underpasses, hashtags on social media, even a line in indie rock songs. Mongolia's young democracy, once buoyed by Zorig's gentle rhetoric, now feels haunted by his silence. Let's pause and consider the human cost. Bulgan, the sole eyewitness, spent months in detention. Never charged, but also never cleared. Friends say she lives abroad now, reluctant to speak publicly. Zorig's sister Oyun entered politics to preserve his legacy, spearheading environmental reforms, yet burdened by unanswered questions. Each anniversary she stands at her brother's grave on a windswept hillside, laying blue kadag scarves and promising, "We will not forget." If you're picturing a straightforward path to closure, think again. Mongolia's judiciary ranks low on international transparency indexes. Judges receive political appointments, and investigators often lack resources. Still, hope flickers. In 2021, a new parliamentary commission gained limited access to the secret files. Leaked notes suggest the presence of DNA traces not matching the convicted siblings. International watchdogs, including Amnesty International, urge a retrial. Whether that will happen remains uncertain. So where does that leave you, the curious listener? The assassination of Zorig Sanjaasuren is more than a cold case. It's a mirror reflecting Mongolia's struggle between the promise of open society and the temptations of secrecy. Each theory you've heard tonight carries its own logic, yet none can be proven beyond doubt. Was it political sabotage, foreign meddling, or a violent burglary gone wrong? Your guess is as good as any offered in court. Before we part, keep two images in mind. First, the young reformer standing in Sukbata Square, megaphone in hand, believing that transparency could cleanse decades of fear. Second, the locked cabinet of classified evidence, guarded by the very institutions he once hoped to reform. Between those images stretches a 25-year gap filled with unanswered questions. Maybe, just maybe, the key to that cabinet is public pressure. People like you refusing to let the story fade. So next time someone mentions Mongolia, don't only picture sweeping steps and galloping horses. Remember a modest apartment in the 7th microdistrict, a broken stairwell light, and a nation still asking, who killed Zorig? Because until that question is answered, Mongolia's democratic journey remains unfinished, and the ghost of its gentle icon continues to walk alongside it.